everybody, I'm Lisa Faye, and today I want to show you an easy crafting tutorial to make these fabric covered candle holders. You can also use them as vases as well if you do waterproof them a little bit. This video is part of my Christmas DIY gifts crafting series here on YouTube. All of the ideas are really easy to do and also budget-friendly items that I think almost anybody would like to receive. These are pretty good ideas, I think. And I have more ideas in the series that are very similar to what I'm about to show you, basically just covering different items with fabric. So I have a couple variations on this. One of them is using these larger glass cylinder vases that I got at the Dollar Tree. You can get these at Michael's, you can get these pretty much anywhere. You can even take ones that you have lying around your house that are unused and repurpose them in this way. So I just used a couple of those, some Mod Podge, some felt for the bottom, and then I even got these little battery operated candles at the Dollar Tree as well. And so those will go inside there. It's too bright in here right now, so you can't see that there's light coming from there, but okay. So that's kind of a fail, but you get the idea. So a couple variations on this, including one that you can make for guys for their bedroom and or man cave, whatever. I know it's really hard to come up with crafting ideas of things you can make for men. Like it's a difficult thing, okay? And by just using sports fabric, I think that this is really a good idea. Definitely do not put a real candle in this if you give it to a guy. I mean, you know, I don't think we can trust them with fire on this sort of stuff. So flameless candle all the way. I also decided to do smaller little votive holders. These have little flameless candles in there as well. I decided to do a trio of these sort of in a holiday fabric scheme here as well. Just a note on these that it is harder to do plaid or stripe prints on these because they are not a perfect cylinder like these are. So keep that in mind. I clearly didn't plan that out as well as I should have, but I was already committed to putting this fabric on these, and it still turned out all right. It's just if you're like a super perfectionist, that's probably gonna bug you. You can finish these off with multiple layers of Mod Podge followed by a clear varnish coat or two if you want these to be either, you know, safe to leave outside, or if you want to be able to use these as a vase and have them be a little bit more waterproof. You'll find affiliate links to the different items you'll need in the description box for this video. I'll be donating a portion of any proceeds from affiliate link sales to National Food Bank Feeding America, as well as my local food bank, Second Harvest of Silicon Valley. This is such a simple project. I got my Mod Podge and my glass containers. I measured kind of crudely the glass containers first, and then also just kind of eyeballed it a little bit with the fabric. Always cut your fabric a little bit bigger than your glass. You want to have more fabric, not less. Since I was using a repeating pattern fabric, I tried to line this up as best as I could. This is a great idea for a gift for guys. I know sometimes it's hard to find DIYs for them, but if you have a sports fabric, you could definitely make them sort of like a man cave type of accessory. So here I just got my Mod Podge and I'm using a brush to apply the Mod Podge to the vase and to the fabric. I was just trying to center the pattern as best as I could on the vase and just applied it in there, making sure that I got all the surfaces covered. You can either do it lightly or you can do it heavily, whatever you're comfortable with. If you want to really saturate the fabric and have it bleed through to the other side and then do a couple coats, you can make it more weatherproof if this is something you want to use outdoors as well. If that's the case, I definitely suggest finishing everything off with a layer of varnish at the end. So now I'm just trimming the fabric so that it's a nice clean seam on the other end and just pasting it down as best as I can. For the ends, I ended up folding it over a little bit, well, adding some more. You can always go back on top and paint some more on. One of the nice things about using these cutting board sheets is that it makes cleanup really easy in between projects. So I got a new one out, and I next measured out this fabric as best as I could, and then just cut the straightest lines I could, and got it ready to go. Lined it up a little bit, and this time I decided to paint it directly on the fabric. And either method works equally well, I would say. It's really just whatever you're more comfortable with. So I did a nice light coating of it across the entire piece of fabric using my fan brush. And then I grabbed my vase and I just rolled it. I folded the ends around the inside and also across the bottom and lightly tacked them. Now I'm going to do some votive holders. So for this, I'm using a buffalo check fabric. I would not really recommend this because the votives are not exactly a perfect cylinder like those last vases were, but this was really the best fabric I had to work with for this purpose. So I'm just kind of crudely cutting the fabric in the 3 different shades. I'm doing a set of 3 of them. Thought they'd look cute for the holiday. More Mod Podge, and I'm just going to do a nice light coat after I trim the fabric. So now I'm just painting a thin layer directly on the fabric. And now just rolling the glass on there. Since it's not a perfect cylinder, I did have a lot of extra fabric on the ends, so I just kind of tucked it under, and I dealt with it later. I did a much heavier application of Mod Podge to this particular project because I wanted to make these sort of an indoor-outdoor type of candle holder compared to the other ones that I made, which were definitely indoors. So using more Mod Podge will make these a little bit more weatherproof. You can also add a brush-on varnish at the end if that's something that you want to do to make them more weatherproof. After everything dried, I came back and I trimmed around the edges. I used a really sharp pair of scissors and it trimmed up nicely actually. So I'm happy with how that turned out. You can either trim it straight across the edge of the tops and bottoms of the glasses, or you can choose to fold it over a little bit. One really nice way you can finish it off is use a piece of black felt. I just got this felt that has some adhesive on the other end, and it finished off things nicely. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye.